what lets you know that someone is ready for a deeper conversation if you're advising them on something that's a little more complex?
Usually it's been like some time around things of just, hey, I'm slowly teaching them. These are what some of the terminology is if they're not familiar with it. Like a good idea is when they have inventory and letting them know, hey, let's not just count it at the end of the year. Let's count monthly and see where we're at. And this is usually because they're shipping things out of their home. They're, just getting going. They're maybe doing $1 million a year. And being able to show them, hey, this is how much inventory was bought, this is how much was purchased, and being able to see a true cost of goods sold and explaining to them what that cost looks like. And I've seen that just like light bulb for people being like, oh, yeah, you're right. This is why I am counting now, because now I can see more of a real time, at least on a monthly basis, how quickly my inventory is moving compared to me just looking at the end of the year and saying I sold 100,000 units. But now I can say, hey, I'm selling X per month. And now that gives them a number. Oh, well, what if I sold 500 more per month? And then it gets to help them plan accordingly of how they want to sell things and, adjust their sales forecast. So it's been really fun. And it's also fun to show them, hey, when we look at your bottom line, hey, maybe this month you didn't do so great, it's a little bit lower. But I like to look at the percentage of net income to overall sales income. What was our percentage? Are we doing better than 10%? That would be really good. Stay healthy between 10 and 15% of that number at the end of the month.
And how do you keep people relaxed in these conversations? Because I can recall a time if someone started saying those words to me, I would be listening, but I could feel my body going, oh my God, I hate this. Like, right. And when that happens, the business owner just can't absorb information. They're not at their best. It's shadow. Can we just get through this? What are things you do to just calm people down so they don't feel so gross about this? And I don't know where this came from, that it's gross to talk about money, but enjoyable to talk about, I don't know, the latest ad. Like,
right.
It's sort of assumed that anything numbers oriented is less pleasant, but is it? I would love to hear from you. To me, the numbers tell a story. But yeah.
And I think the biggest thing with them is that I try to tell them, hey, this is it's story time, and we're going to see what story our numbers are telling us. Do we like the story it's telling us? Maybe we do this month, maybe next month we're like, yeah, it's not so great. It's not a good chapter. Let's see how we can change our adventure for the following, and just really making numbers fun. I think so much of it is people, like you said, they're overwhelmed, or it's like, oh my gosh, we're having this. You might as well talk in a monotone voice and sound like a science professor. And then it's like, no, this is actually fun. And breaking it down little by little with them. So when I review their financials at the end of each month or quarter, whatever that looks like, and being able to kind of quiz them on things of like, hey, remember last month we talked about this? What are your feelings about it? Or what are your thoughts about what this number looks like, and helping coach them along that even if they do get it wrong, it's like, oh, well, you were close and here's what it would be and whatnot, but making it a very, safe environment to be in of like, nobody's going to judge you on here. It is what it is. And you don't have to share this with anybody. This is just between you. And if you do feel like sharing it out to your employees or whatnot, you'll do that when you're very confident in understanding the numbers. And there was a book, I quote this a lot. It's called The Great Game of Business. And it's one of my favorite books because he did something that was very unique at the time, as it was sharing the financials out to the entire company. So being able to tell everybody in the organization, for privately owned, this is how much we made this month, this is what we spent. And that way people could gain ownership in what was going on and seeing like, oh, you know what, we did spend a lot in marketing this month. Maybe next month we might do something a little bit different, but they would know that, hey, they're not hiding money from us. We only did make, I don't know, $400,000 or $500,000 that month on the smaller side. And it was a really cool concept. And I know it's gotten to be a little bit more what people do. And of course you see it on the publicly traded side, but for privately owned, I think it's a cool thing if you can do that.
Oh, I love the idea. The word fun.
Yeah.
I've never heard money
You
discussed
don't
as
see money and yeah, money and numbers are never usually fun.
I don't know what I think it's because no matter at the end of the day, if we go all the way down to the bottom line, and this is where, some awareness
Mhm.
or open discussion, money has been associated with basic survival. And I don't know how to sit with that. I mean, without putting a pretty bow on it, because my thought is, does it have to be that way? That if you don't have money, you can't eat, you lose your house. I mean, that's kind of it's a carrot and it's a stick, sort of.
Yes.
And part of me wishes it could be more like oxygen,
Mhm.
that you're going to breathe. As long as you live, there's going to be oxygen there. You're never going to be deprived. But I'm wondering, can you imagine a world where money didn't, it was decoupled from your basic survival, whether you could eat?
Mhm.
That sort of blows people's minds. I think it's so associated with, that hand to mouth grab, even people making millions. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on this?
I think I've seen some of that even when people that are very wealthy, if they grew up in a scarcity mindset, if they grew up extremely poor, they still can't separate that life that they had and they still want more all the time because this fear of it will either all be taken away from me or I won't be able to survive because I haven't made enough and it takes so much. And I would say I understand that because I've had some of that scarcity mindset at times that,
Mhm.
oh no, I got to make sure this is taken care of or this or this because, no one's coming to save me. And how do you separate from that and then have a more healthier relationship with money? And one thing I read about the other day was if you look at European countries, it's a little bit different because they use money to have a balanced life. They want the 5 weeks of vacation. And in the US, we're that more hustle till you drop kind of
Mhm.
people because the whole thing is work harder, make more money. But where does that break even point come of I can continually work harder, but it doesn't give me anymore because now I'm burned out and not happy.
This is where I hope AI will lead us into a totally different direction, because um, rather than squeezing blood out of a turnip, AI does present the possibility that we could generate a lot more with less work,
Mhm.
and not have this idea that if I don't work as hard as everybody else, I'll fall behind, because it's like you said, it becomes like a rat race kind of
It
thing.
does, yeah.
AI is such a game changer. And it's a little bit early right now to predict whether it will be the path to our freedom, which is what I'm hoping for, that
Mhm.
companies can right size. You don't have to lay everybody off. The company's profitable. The people that are hired, like Kyler mentioned, each person is just 10 times more valuable. Everybody's happier. And or is it going to go to the other extreme of get rid of everybody? We'll have the robots. I mean,
Mhm.
I
But
don't
you
think that's
see both
possible.
sides of how that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thought is, if we put some conscious thought of the world we want to create so that AI is just not running amok,
Mhm.
it would be a world where you don't have to work so hard anymore. And money can feel more like oxygen, like there's always enough.
Mhm.
You know, that's kind of my fantasy of what could be possible.
And then how could AI be used on the personal side of finances? How some people are like, "Hey, you know what? I have so much debt and I don't know what to do. Hey, AI, tell me,
Give me
let
a
me
plan.
show you what I have. Can you give me a plan of how to pay this off?" And I
Yeah.
think there's really cool ways that that could be utilized for people to wipe out debt or even plan to say, "Hey, I want to buy a home in the next 5 years. Here's what my income and expenses are each month. Can you help me put together a plan to purchase a home?" And I think those are some very good ways that it could be used, even on the personal level of
Yeah.
helping people manage their money.
And I'm thinking this may change the financial planning industry. That, I mean, we're always, I still think we need humans, but maybe financial planning, kind of like you, it would be less of the information sending.
Yeah.
This is what you do, and more sitting with, tell me about this anxiety that you think you're going to go broke if you got all your money in, I don't know, crypto or whatever, like
Mhm.
helping people work through stuff as humans.